Hello guys, welcome back to Reviewers. My name is Alex and I hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, or evening. First things first is I would like to announce that I have a name change. My name is now Teddy. So when I do a podcast, I will introduce myself as Teddy. So, first things first, the next thing is I have a sponsorship today. This podcast is brought to you by Whoosies, Leaders, L4H, and Heteros. You think you have an account? Do you think you found an account that you suspect to be L4H also? DM us now at Hosey Deletus on Twitter and we will investigate for free. Okay, sorry. I had to throw that in there. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about toxic relationships on the CW because there's a lot of them and I feel like that we should remember that we should not romanticize toxic relationships for the pure sole reason that they're toxic. So, sorry, ignore that. Without further ado, I'm going to just look at my script here and list off the things that I have written. So, the first ship I have on here is Finn and Raven from the 100. Finn urged her to take an illegal spacewalk. He latched onto Clark and forgot Raven almost instantly, and he has serious anger issues. That alone speaks to a very high toxicity level. The next ship is a personal favorite of mine. That's sarcasm. It's a personal favorite toxic ship of mine. It's called Caramel, which is between Kara Danvers and Mon-El of Supergirl. So, Mon-El was constantly disrespecting her wishes, not believing in her abilities or her as Supergirl. They replaced James, a black character, as a love interest with Mon-El, a white character. Mon-El called ugly women dogs, and they romanticized that, and they made Kara like him for no reason. He's a slave owner. So, I think you guys know that. Now, this one is my personal favorite toxic relationship to talk about, and that's another sarcastic remark, mind you. It's called Handon, Hope Michelson and Landon Kirby. Now, I'm not just saying that this is a toxic relationship because I ship Hope and Josie. No. I am saying this because it is toxic. Even if I didn't ship Hope and Josie, I would still think it's toxic. And here's why. So, Landon constantly leaves and runs when things get hard, even though he knows that Hope has serious abandonment issues. I have to reiterate that when he leaves, it doesn't only affect him, it affects the people around him. It mostly affects Hope. Because in one of the episodes, in season 2, when everyone remembers who Hope is, he leaves. And this is when Josie and Hope are talking, and Hope's asking if she can come back to school. And Josie says, Landon, I want you to stay. Landon and Raphael had run away, and Landon is writing with the pen that Penelope gave them in his notebook, and he basically wrote a goodbye letter, and the girls, Hope and Josie, saw it through the quote-unquote burn book that Penelope gave Josie in season 1, and they saw him writing, and they saw that he ran away. Both girls were affected, but it was mostly Hope who was affected. So that's why him running away constantly affects the people around him, especially her. Okay, the next one is Landon blaming his own insecurities on Hope. This is a constant thing, because he constantly blames her for his own insecurities. Landon expecting Hope to drop everything and save him when he gets himself into dangerous situations. This is another thing. He constantly does that. There are so many episodes I could list off that are not at the top of my head at the moment that would be the definition of toxic. Because he gets himself into a dangerous situation and then he just expects Hope to swoop in like Wonder Woman and save him even though he put himself in those situations. Gaslighting her and using her traumas to guilt trip her. Now, this is a very heavy subject, gaslighting, because we all know the definition of gaslighting is making people think that they're like wrong to feel a certain way. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Let me Google it real quick. One second. Gaslighting is a form of psychological toxicity where a person or group makes someone question their sanity, perception of reality, or memories. Now, Landon does this. Like, when he gets mad, he brings up stuff about Hope's trauma and makes her question everything. And then the next point is treating her like it's her responsibility to protect him, like she's his mom or something. This is another thing. He constantly expects her to just treat him like he's her responsibility, which he's not. He is 18, 19 years old. He's a grown adult. Yeah, he's still a teenager, but he's an adult. That proves enough. That speaks on its own. He ignores her explicit wishes and then expects her to apologize after she's rightfully upset. Here, this is what I want to talk about. In episode 3 of Legacies, episode 3 of season 3, it's Salvatore the Musical. This is specifically what happens. Landon starts a musical, Salvatore the Musical. Hope sees the poster. She asks him about it. He tells her that he's starting a musical surrounding the founding of the school, covering the Salvatores, the Michelsons, Elena Gilbert, all that stuff. And what was I gonna say? He asks her if she can help him talk about the Michelsons in particular. And, Hope, this is a very sensitive subject to Hope because these are her parents. Like, this is her family, the Michelsons. Hope Michelson, the Michelsons are her family. So it's a sensitive topic, obviously. So she tells him, my family stays out of it. And so she walks away. Come to find out, near the middle of the episode, he wrote a song from a personal letter that Klaus gave to Hope. Always and Tomorrow, he turned it into song lyrics. And Hope's mad because that violated her wishes. Like, wouldn't you be mad if your significant other violated your wishes? I would be mad. I would be pissed, actually. I would be really mad if my significant other disrespected my wishes. And then near the end of the episode, she apologizes to him. But she had no reason to apologize because she didn't have to. That's the whole point. She did not have to apologize. And the non-consensual kiss. This one. Whew, okay. So, in the last episode, in the quote-unquote spring finale of season 2 of Legacies, Hope enters Josie's mind. And I talked about this on my queer baiting episode, but Hope meets a talking pig, who tells Hope to kiss Josie, who's asleep. And Hope says, I know this is a fairy tale and all, but a non-consensual kiss is never the answer, which is true. So she could have said, I have a boyfriend, and turned it down like that. But she didn't. And then in the very next episode, which would have been 2X17, which was now 3X01, Landon kisses Hope when she's unconscious. And somehow this wakes her up, which I do not see how that makes sense. Because why is it that a non-consensual kiss is never the answer? Is the comment that you make for a queer ship, but then it doesn't apply to a straight ship. That is what irritates me. And I know people are gonna be like, it's not double standards. It is double standards, because you have a boy and a girl kiss when there's no consent, but then a girl and a girl cannot kiss because there's no consent. And of course, a non-consensual kiss is never the answer, is correct. That is the truth. But it makes no sense, and it's double standards, and it's pretty homophobic to have Landon kiss Hope when she's asleep, when she's unconscious, but then have, in the previous episode, a non-consensual kiss is never the answer between two female characters. I could go on about this, but I have two more I have two more topics to cover, two more ships to cover. This episode was lasting a little shorter than I was hoping, but I think I'm going to dive into something else in a little bit. So the next ship I have is Chair, which is between Chuck Bass and Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl. Trigger warning, this has the mention of rape, so if that makes you uncomfortable, click out now. I'll give you a second. Okay. So Chuck is a rapist. That is that is the sign of absolute toxicity right there. If someone's a rapist, then that's toxic, and that's illegal, and that's gross, and that person should just be in prison, right? He should be in jail for being a rapist. Also, I only have 2 points for this because I did not want to watch Gossip Girl because of Chuck Bass. Another point is that Chuck was willing to trade Blair for a hotel. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you trade your girlfriend for a hotel? That's toxic right there. Okay. The last ship I have is, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Delena or Delina. I don't remember. But it's between Damon Salvatore and Elena Gilbert from the Vampire Diaries. There's a cheating trope. That's toxic itself. They have the cycle of breaking up, hooking up, and getting back together. And it's a constant cycle. Like, they break up, they hook up, they get back together. And then they break up, they hook up, and they get back together. That is a cycle, and that is a toxic cycle right there. That is a very toxic cycle. And then my last point is that Damon never did anything because he was motivated to make himself better. He only did things for her. This is a thing that I see all the time that really bothers me, is that the toxic man changes, but not because he wants to be a better person, but because he wants to get inside the girl's pants. It's happened on Supergirl. It's happened on the Vampire Diaries. Hell, it even happened on Once Upon a Time with Captain Hook and Emma Swan. But I don't think that's a CW show. I'm pretty sure that's an ABC show, but I'm only talking about CW shows. So that's basically the top ships that I have listed. I have a total of 5 toxic ships on the CW, and I'm pretty sure there's more of that coming from basically everywhere. But let's see, I have been recording for 14 minutes, so I want to say thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a great morning, evening, or night. I messed it up. I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or evening. My Twitter is at Reviewverse. Reviewverse with 2 E's at the end. Ignore the background. Okay, thank you guys for listening, and good night.